Let me tell you the biggest myth that I hear as a nurse practitioner. Weight loss is just about willpower. No, that couldn't be further from the truth. But GLP-1 medications, they aren't a cheat code, they're a tool. Hi, I'm Carrie, and I'm the NP on a GLP. I'm a nurse practitioner, but I'm also somebody who's lost 50 pounds using tirzepatide, a GLP-1 medication. But more importantly, I'm somebody who has completely changed the way I nourish my body, the way I move, and the way I take charge of my health. So, whether you're new to GLPs or just considering them, or whether you're already along this journey, this channel was created for you. Just a quick disclaimer. This channel is for educational purposes only. I am a nurse practitioner, but I am not your healthcare provider. Always consult your licensed healthcare provider for decisions about GLP-1s and for any of your healthcare decisions. Let me tell you my story, the real story, not just the weight numbers. I was not an obese child, but I have battled my weight my entire adult life. When I was put on birth control pills, when I was about 18, I ballooned. I put on 50 pounds in about 3 months. And the weight just kept creeping on. Every pregnancy, every emotional event after that added more weight. By the time I was in my late 20s, I was the heaviest I'd ever been. Okay, I can't believe I'm actually going to tell you this. But it's the truth. By the time I was in my late 20s, I weighed 262 pounds. I didn't know how I got there, and I knew that I had lost control. Then I got a lucky break. My husband at the time was enrolled in a study for people with a condition called pseudotumor cerebri. And the doctor who was doing the study was also studying women with polycystic ovarian syndrome. And when we went in for my husband's appointment, the doctor pulled me aside after my husband's appointment and said to me that he believed that I had PCOS. He was so kind and wonderful, and I'm so grateful to this man. He consulted for free with my primary care doctor to get me the right testing, the right diagnosis, and the right treatment. And that's how I started on metformin. And honestly, metformin was a lifesaver for me. For the first time in years, possibly even in my recollection, I could ignore junk food that was in the cupboard. That didn't happen before. Before metformin, if there were M&Ms in the house, they were on my mind until I ate them. Honestly, I even dreamed about them until they were gone. But the metformin took that away and gave me a freedom I'd never felt before. It was absolutely amazing. And with this new control, combined with my willpower, I was able to lose 90 pounds and get down to 172 pounds. I was ecstatic and I loved my body again. But even with the help of the medication and all the willpower that I could muster, I wasn't able to maintain it perfectly. I bounced back, and then I spent the rest of my adult life bouncing between 190 and 210. Occasionally, I'd go higher than that, and I'd work really, really hard and get it back down into that range. Metformin helped me keep 50 to 70 pounds off, but it just wasn't enough to get me to a healthy weight. And then I found myself in my 50s, perimenopausal, energy dwindling. Every day felt harder just to keep the weight steady and not gain more. As a nurse practitioner, I knew what I needed to do, but willpower was never enough. Then there was a moment. I looked in the mirror and I saw myself and I thought, you deserve better. Something has to change. I knew I needed help. I knew that decline was not inevitable. And I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to do something different. I also knew that if I didn't do something now, 6 months down the road, I was going to weigh even more. That's when GLP-1s entered my life. They helped support my appetite and my metabolism, reduce my inflammation, they eased the joint pain and the achiness, and they regulated my hormones. But they weren't magic. I still had to put in some effort. But the GLP-1 medication filled the gap between what I knew I needed to do and what my willpower could achieve. That's why I call them a tool, not a cheat code. And I want to be clear, this medication isn't a quick fix. It's a tool to support my body and my brain while I make the changes that I knew needed to happen. GLP-1 provided hormone support my body needed, and it allowed my willpower the ability to finally accomplish what it had tried and tried for decades to accomplish. Not overnight, not effortlessly, but steadily, consistently, and honestly, beautifully. Since starting tirzepatide, I've lost 50 pounds over about the past 6 to 7 months. And I'm still losing. I'm not quite at my goal yet. But since then, I've gained much more than I've lost. I've gained a level of confidence that I didn't have before. I gained clarity and a sense of hope. And I've also gained a sincere desire to help other people along this path. You know, after considering a GLP-1 medication, I did the same thing everybody does. I went online and I Googled. Wow, there's a lot of information out there. A lot of it's good, a lot of it's bad, a lot of it's just straight up propaganda. There was a lot of information and there was a lot of science, but not a lot of support. There were opinions, but not a lot of lived experience from people who were going through it. And there just wasn't anything that combined clinical knowledge with practical everyday lifestyle guidance. And the emotional side, the emotional honesty from somebody who's been there. You know what? I would really love to hear from you guys. What's the biggest question that you still have about GLP-1s? Drop it in the comments. I'll read every one and use it to make future content. Anyway, so I finally decided to create the channel that I wished I had found when I first started this journey. That's how NP on a GLP came about. Each week on NP on a GLP, you'll get content that blends my experience as a nurse practitioner with my experience as a GLP-1 user. Here's what you can expect. We'll talk about how these medications work, side effects, what to expect, plateaus, appetite changes. We'll talk about what I eat in a day, meal ideas, and exercise options. We'll also talk about the emotional side because, frankly, this medication changes you emotionally. It changes your approach to eating and to food, changes your habits. It changes your identity and how you see yourself. It even changes how much energy, focus, and even time that you have for other pursuits. We're going to talk about all of that openly and without shame. I'm also going to share with you my personal journey, the real me. You'll see my views, my wins, the hard days, moments of joy, failures, and the continued work of maintaining this loss and trying to reach my goals. I'm still on this journey and I want to share it with you. I'd love to hear more from you in the comments. Which part of this GLP journey do you find most challenging right now? Share below and let me know. So if you've made it this far and you're still watching, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not a failure, and you are not lacking willpower. And you are not alone. You are starting exactly where you are supposed to be starting. And if you're ready to create real, meaningful, and sustainable change, I would love for you to be part of this community. Hit the subscribe and join me every week as we learn, grow, and transform together. One meal, one habit, one mindset, and yes, one injection at a time. Before you go, share one small win that you're proud of this week. Let's celebrate together in the comments. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being open and for giving yourself the space to grow. This is NP on a GLP, and our journey is just getting started. I'll see you in the next video.